Well, good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Today we are at Damrell's Motorcycles and we're taking out this beauty. Now this is the CRF1100 Africa Twin Adventure Sports 2023 version. Now this is the tricolour, apparently the best seller, and this is about £14,000 in the UK. Now this one's fitted with an SC Project Adventure exhaust system that's about £950 as an option. I think you can have an Akrapovic as well, and a myriad of different options to add to the bike. But this one is really no different to the 2021 version, other than the fact this is a manual. So this is not the DCT. It's got loads and loads of stuff, like a 25 litre tank. I think it's got about 350 miles in it, which is really, really good. And doesn't it look good? I've always liked the look of the Africa Twin, and I've always liked the way that they just carry themselves. Beautiful, beautiful bike, and obviously built by Honda, so it's going to be really, really good. Look at that blue. Look at this blue, I love it, love it. So let's take it out, have a bit of a ride. Oh, and this one's got the quick shifter on as well, so happy days. Now this one has got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, all as standard. Let's get the mirrors sorted. I think I remember the Africa Twin being the mirrors that you couldn't really see very much out of, so I'm hoping to be able to see something. Can't really see an awful lot, but let's go. Let's see what this beast is like. So this has got loads of horsepower, and we'll put it all up in this on the screen in a minute, or at some point through our video we should put all of the details up so you will be able to see. There are so many for me to remember, but this is truly a touring bike, isn't it, really? It's a bike that you can use for touring, you can get about, and you can do anything with. Now there's a big following with these bikes, and you can see why. And I tell you what, this is one of the most comfortable seats on the Africa Twin that I've ever sat on already. It's only been a few miles, so let's get it up to speed. And the thing that I've always thought about the Africa Twin is that the Africa Twin it always seems a little bit lumpy when you pull away and you put the power on. It's not, but it's got a different feel to the way that the power is delivered than other adventure bikes like the Adventure 1250 from BMW. Very different feel, but instantly I'm sat upright. Now the screen is a small screen on this one. Now you are able to move the screen up and down, and you've got a bracket on the right, left and the right, and you can move it. It's a manual screen, but I think that's quite good because you see many people just leaning over and changing the way you ride, and it's really quite dangerous to take a hand off the handlebar to be then playing around with settings for screens and stuff. But I'm so upright, I think I'm probably more upright than my 1250 actually, and it feels really comfy. In actual fact, I feel just as comfy, if not more comfy, to be honest, than my 1250 GSA. And that quick shifter, wow, so smooth, so smooth. And I think the indicators cancelled themselves there, and I find that just a little bit annoying. Right, let's see what this baby is like. So slow speed, I tell you what, because this is about 238 kilos, something like that. Again, we'll put everything up on a card so you can see, but it's probably about 40-50 kilos lighter, if not more, than the BMW 1250 GSA. Now all of the BMW weights I think are dry weight, whereas this is a wet weight, so about 230 kilos, something like that. And I tell you what, you can really feel it. Power delivery is really smooth. It does feel a little bit lumpy as you're going along, but you know, I don't know about you guys, but the reason I slowed down there was all that mud in the road. Farmers, I really love you to bits, you do an amazing job, but why is it that all of our roads in Cornwall are just covered in mud at the moment? It's so dangerous. Anyway, power delivery I think is really, really nice. It feels like it's chugging away when it pulls away, so it doesn't feel like a smooth 6-cylinder or anything like that, but then it's not a 6-cylinder, is it? Let's get across that mud. But to tip it in, I mean, that's amazing. You know, the weight, you can really feel that there's no weight to this bike at all. It's really quite nice. So, seating position, I really am at 90 degrees and right angles with my knees, my bum and my back. My arms and my shoulders feel like I'm not reaching too far. The width of the bars is just right. It's not too far or not too thin, but not too wide. The visibility is really good. These mirrors are better than I thought they would be, actually. It'd be nice to be able to move them just a little bit more, but that's just in getting them angled ready for how you want them. But I'll tell you what, I can see an awful lot in them. There's no vibration in them, and there is no vibration in the handlebars or the foot pegs. And the foot pegs got massive rubbers in, so that's probably something to do with the fact that there's no vibration. And when I look at the dashboard, they've got it split into two. Now they haven't changed that for several years. The top part is all, I think they call it capacitive, so it's touch screen, and it works out when you're pressing it. So you can touch screen, you can change it with all these myriad of buttons down here on the left hand side. I mean, there are so many buttons, but this one's got Bluetooth connectivity. There's a button there for you to answer and cancel calls, to do Siri, you know, all that sort of voice control and stuff like that. So there is a great many things on this bike that come as standard for just that little bit of money. I think it's quite good. Hear that purr? See my reflection in that black van. How cool. The one thing that I have found when I've been riding this bike though is how I'm having to look down every time to see the where the indicator is, because they've put the horn above the indicator rather than the horn being below it like most bikes. And I find that quite a little bit confusing, really. But feel the power of that. I mean, that's 60 national speed limit already in no time whatsoever. I would say that it's lightning fast, this bike. The road presence I think is really good as well, from the lights on the front. I think they stand out. And you know, if we go on tour and things like that, there are 1,000,001 GSAs. You get an Africa Twin, much like the KTMs, and because they're different, they're the ones that get the heads turning. Look at that. Ooh, nice. So up front, not an awful lot on the right hand side. You've got your kill switch, got your cruise control, which is a standard, so you can resume, you can set the speed, you can go up and down. Then on the left hand side you have 1,000,001 buttons, and they all do something very special with that screen. The screens, lovely screen, really nice font on the screen. And I know people slate us for saying, you know, what difference does it make with the font? But the font makes a big difference, because you just need the information, or you just need to look at the information you want and not take your hands or your eyes off the road, and you need that at a glance, and this font truly does that. It's touchscreen, as we've said, and this is one of the only bikes I think on the market that you can truly set up to how you want. So you've got so many modes on this, tour mode and road and rain and all of that sort of stuff, but on each of those modes you can set up what you want that mode to be like. So you can change the power, the engine braking, the torque. You can see those little circles down there, so you can see what power and engine braking, torque you've got in different modes, and you can set it up yourself. You've got a favourite button on the left hand side, so you can set things that are your favourites up, and with the ability of Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, navigating and dealing with everyday life while you're riding along is going to be a bit of a breeze, really. Now up front, like I say, you've got those two screens, but the one below, I wish they'd do something with that. The one above, all of the stuff inside, all of the gadgetry, the way that it works, the way that it looks, really looks up to date. But the bit down the bottom looks a little bit outdated now. You know, it's the old style digits, the old style font, and it's got your obligatory lights down there, like the fact that you've got your lights on and stuff like that, which is great. But perhaps they could make something a little bit more out of that. So you're going to let us through? Oh, look at that. They could make something a little bit more, make it look a little bit newer perhaps. Really nice. See, there are nice people on the road. What I do like is having the indicators really quite exposed at the front. Now the reason that I like that is because you see that they're on. Yes, you get the obligatory, you know, green thing on here saying that the indicator's working, but sometimes you just need that second opinion, and seeing the tops of the LED covers, seeing when that's flashing, just gives you that peace of mind that you've got them working and then they are working. Now this one's got a key on it, which I quite like, really, because if your key's in your bike and your bike is moving, you haven't forgotten your keys, have you? If you've got a keyless, how many times do you search in your pocket to see where your key is? Right, look at that. That was in third, literally just touching the throttle. And that quick shifter, I would say that quick shifter is so buttery smooth that it's smoother than the GSA. I haven't had one of those, you know, when you're going up and down the box and you've slightly got the revs wrong, or you slightly misinterpreted when you can use that quick shift and you get a bit of a jolt. Haven't had one of those yet. I reckon you can chuck it up and down a gear with that quick shifter at any time on the ride and it would not make any difference whatsoever. I do find that, because it's, I don't know whether this is fly-by-wire, but I do find that the throttle is a bit jerky. Now that might be because we've only had this for, you know, a couple of hours this morning to ride through. That might be me getting used to it. But I tell you what is nice is the connection that you feel with the brakes, and when you put them on, the whole bike does dive. So I should show you here, it does dive quite a bit, but it doesn't bounce up as quickly as you would think it would bounce up. It bounces up, and it seems to be, when it bounces up, it feels like it's got a bit of damping on there. It feels like it's a controlled bounce back, so it's not going to bounce back out of control. But I tell you what, with a 25 litre tank that will get you, what, 350 miles ish, depending on how you ride, you're going to get sort of 60-65 miles per gallon out of this bike, and that's something incredible for 1100, isn't it? I know that the GSAs would do around there depending on your ride, but talking to Mark from Damrels, plug for Damrels, because they said they let us take the bike out, he was saying that he wasn't hanging about and he wasn't riding it frugally, and he was getting 65 plus miles to the gallon. Now that's exceptional for a bike like this. It's really nimble. I was a bit worried about the size of the front wheel. It's really nimble, and it doesn't feel like it's going to run away with you either. It's really quite a pleasant bike. Nice and bouncy, not too bouncy, just bouncy enough that you've got your comfort on there. And the brakes, they're really good, really good. There's, you know, you talk about the bike all day long while I'm riding, but really, really nice bike. So let's park up by our no parking sign and see what it's like. Turn in circle is that of a extremely small country, in a good way, you could turn this on a sixpence. I mean, look at that. I mean, look at that. You know, I mean, this turning circle on here is so good. So anyway, let's talk about a bike. The news is, no, you're on RiderCamTV, the exciting channel of two idiots who know nothing about bikes, talking about bikes. Should we talk about a bike, Mark?
Which bike is it, mate?
I have got the CRF1100. There's so many numbers. The Africa Twin Adventure Sport 1100. Wow. Only things you could see in Cornwall, isn't it? A tractor going by with a kid in the back with ear defenders on, sitting on a sofa. I love Cornwall, don't you? Anyway, we're in Cornwall.
Pull out and have a look at this bike.
We are parking. For those who say that we shouldn't park by the no parking sign, we are parking. Doesn't say that we're going to get a fine, but I have got the Africa Twin 1100. This is 2023 version, and this is the Adventure Sport. But wait for it. This is not the DCT. Now the DCT engine, or the DCT transmission, is amazing, isn't it? It's like buttery smooth, really quick. But this is the manual. I know.
Sharp intake of breath.
Yes, everybody in the world, sharp intake of breath. Right.
If we all did that, would we suddenly lose oxygen everywhere, all over the world?
Might do, mightn't they?
Oh.
But I took this bike out. Now, Mark had ridden the DCT versions, the black one, I think.
I've ridden the DCT, I've ridden the old 1000, I've ridden them all. I've done all the reviews, so it's your turn to do a review on it, mate.
I tell you what, this bike is in the tri-colours, and this is by far the best colour of them. You can have like a graphite grey and all these other colours. I thought there was more red in there, but this one just pops, doesn't it?
It's gorgeous. It is a gorgeous looking bike.
I really like it. So for those of you who think you can't get up on the bike, it's too tall, I'm only like 5'10", only. And I can swing my leg over it really easily.
Wow.
And I can touch both feet flat on the floor. Now bear in mind I have no private parts anymore because they're all squished into my body. However, I can touch the floor. The only thing that I found was that while you're there, Mark, this side stand is right in the way of kicking the peg that you put your foot on. But these are the things that you need to get used to, isn't it? The things that you need to know when you're checking out a bike. Now, it's bouncy, but not as bouncy as I remember the other versions to be. And it does bounce forward, so when you come to a stop really quickly, you do go down at the front. But the thing that I was really surprised about is that it's a controlled damp back up. So you're not like down and then suddenly being flicked up like some bikes. It's really quite controlled. It's really nice. And right,
for a man who didn't want to ride the bike, you've got a smile on your
don't
face.
say that. Anyway, right, almost 90 degrees there, almost 90 degrees here. Feels like 90 degrees on my shoulder. I'm not reaching forward and I'm actually sat upright.
How does that compare to your GSA?
I felt like I was riding my GSA actually. It feels much the same. Now this tank is 25 litres and it's wider than the other version. And you can get about 350 miles out of the tank. So it's
You might have made that up.
No, literally about 350 miles. But the good thing about it, we're talking to Mark, the guy at Damrels. Thanks for letting us take the bike out. He was saying that he was riding either this bike or the other one that was in, the 1100 Adventure Sport, and he wasn't riding it frugally. What that means, I don't know, but not really, really slow. And he said he was getting average of 65 plus miles to the gallon out of it without trying. So, you know, they've done something in their engine, haven't they? But back to how you sit. Arms with a little bend, and I feel like I'm upright. I don't feel like I'm like that or being pulled apart. Really, really nice. And the visibility is incredible. Now, I thought the visibility on my GSA was good, but this is actually quite good because our GSA is built up round here, but you've got the view through here because there isn't stuff. I really like it. He's looking at his GSA. Really like it. Now these have got something going for them, haven't they? Lots of people love them.
They're an iconic bike.
But you go on a tour and there's loads of GSAs, there's loads of RTs, but then comes along a KTM, people turn because they've got the styling, haven't they? Same with this, I think. It's an iconic style, isn't it? And it just does everything, I think.
I think they're amazing bikes.
Yeah. The only thing I did find is the accelerator's a little bit jerky. So, you know, that might be me just not getting used to it.
Fly-by-wire?
Well, there's loads of cables and stuff coming off here, so I guess that it is. But somebody in the comments will slate us for not knowing whether it is or not.
Yeah, we haven't done our research.
Oops. However, these mirrors, when I got on there, I was trying to organise it so I couldn't see all of my arms, and I can see all
of your arms. How many have you got?
I've got loads, but I can see all of my arm in the mirror. However, I have got a really, really good view of what's behind me. And they were surprisingly a lot better than I thought they were going to be. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Now, up front, there's not an awful lot to distract you at all. So I don't know whether you can come in here, Mark. Look at this beautiful, beautiful thing. And these are the things that I like about Honda. Not only do they make really good engines, but it's a key. So you know that if the bike is on, you've not forgotten your house keys, which is brilliant. See this screen lighting up? The only thing I don't like about the screen is it takes ages to start up.
A long, long time.
Yeah, a long time.
It's not ready to race, is it? It might be ready to race slowly.
You got to press on there every time, so it's a touch screen. And like the other review we did of the Africa Twin and the 1100, NT1100, they share the same screen, I think, don't they?
Yeah.
But this is one of those bikes that you can truly sort it out for yourself. So you can change all of the power, the engine braking, the torque. You can turn ABS on and off, traction control. You've got all of these different options. It's all touchscreen. You can change everything on here. And you've got a bronze, silver and gold mode as well. So bronze has got just the bare minimum. Silver's got a little bit more. Gold has got everything. And you can configure every part of all of those different modes and different screen options. So I think if you were to get one of these bikes and you're worried about the amount of stuff on the camera on the screen, and worried about it being really confusing, have a read of the manual, which is probably longer than the Magna Carta. However, if you read the manual, you can get it set up exactly how you want to get it set up. So if you want loads of power, less engine braking, you can do it. If you want all the torque or less torque, you can do it. If you want everything on the screen, you can do it. Now this one comes with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay.
Well, that's different, isn't it? They either do one or the other normally.
So we're getting to the point now where sat-navs are really good, but lots of people are turning to their little gadgets, their mobile phones to use, aren't they? So lots of people use Android Auto. Don't know why. Why would you have an Android? Or Apple CarPlay, which is obviously the best, isn't it? However, when you plug it in, you haven't got to download anything to the bike or a sat-nav, so you're always going to remember to take your phone with you. But whatever you've got on your phone is usable on Apple CarPlay. So all of the maps, all of the apps that come with it, you can be distracted with everything, can't you? But the maps are really good because Apple Maps and Google Maps are really, really good and updated all the time. So for tourers, and you can put GPX files and stuff into it. How you do that is very confusing, so I'll let you work that out. But if you were going on a tour and you wanted to do it via Apple Maps or Google Maps, you can do it and then just plug it in.
And that doesn't come up on that screen, it comes up on it stays on your phone, but it works.
No, Apple CarPlay is, it changes the whole screen, so you get your map view on there.
Wow.
Just like you would do if you're walking around with your phone with Apple Maps or Google Maps. It's exactly the same. It projects it all onto the screen. If you get messages, you can read the messages or it'll read it out to you. And if you've got a helmet set up Bluetooth-wise to it, it's also got a myriad,
a plethora, an overabundance
of buttons over here. But one button is to answer the phone calls, cancel the phone calls, do loads of other stuff, but to enable you to have voice control.
Wow.
So if somebody messaged you and it would read it out in your headset, you could then press that button, talk to Siri, say your reply and send it. It's really, really quite good. don't advocate not concentrating while you're riding. However, there is a bit of a downside. So you've got this lovely, lovely, beautiful screen up here. But then it's matched with this, how do I say it nicely?
Old.
Yeah, old screen down the bottom. Now I get why they've got to do it, because if you're off-roading on this bike, which is more than capable, if you're doing all of these things that you don't need all that information, or if you're using Apple Maps, Google Maps on Apple CarPlay, you only need to know your speed, what gear you're in, that sort of stuff. I get why they've put that there, and you need those obligatory lights, don't you? There's something about some legislation that you need it off a LCD screen or something. However, looking at the futuristic style of that screen, you're then taken back in time by this.
It's not even the same.
No, I think it's almost
pixelation. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
we'll use it.
Yeah, we'll use any word. Without being rude to Honda, it's almost like they've said, what can we do with the bottom of that? I tell you what, we've got shed loads of these in the store. We'll just whack them on. That's what it feels like, and it would be lovely if they could do something a bit better with that. However, still a great bike. So
before you go on, can I just say, look at this.
I know. How much would you pay for one of those for a Garmin or a GSA or something like that from Nippy Normans or other places? They're like 30, 40, 50, 60 quid for a bit of plastic.
Wonderly.
Yeah. This is fitted. This is fitted, Mark.
I don't understand why on a BMW you get a TFT screen that you then have to buy a sunscreen to fit over it that doesn't work. How many people I see on tour with buying the sunscreens and they're rubbish, absolutely garbage.
Yeah, they are.
Yet that one there is long enough to actually do something.
Yeah, and it doesn't look out of place because it's there. People can't just rip it off. And like Buzz Lerman said in his sunscreen, wear sunscreen. So you need a sunscreen. However, right, now the one thing that I found was really quite weird when I got off the bike was that you put the side stand down and it goes over and it goes over and I'm checking. It goes over and it goes over and it goes over before the stand gets there, and it feels like the old BMWs. Do you remember that it had the stand that was kind of angled?
Yeah.
It just feels like it's a little bit too far. So it's a bit unnerving the first few times you get on the bike. But it comes with all this stuff as standard. Look at this. I know it's just plastic, but they kept my hands nice and warm. We're about 9 degrees today. So it's not the warmest, and I'm wearing summer gloves because they're the ones I like. And it looks good as well, doesn't it?
You can get aftermarket better ones, Bark Buster type things.
You can do.
For them.
While we're talking about the front, I should just put the bike up front. Look here, look, Mark.
I'm just coming. I thought you were going to show me something to do with the lights.
Look, there is in there a USB slot.
I'm not sure we'll be able to
I don't think you'll be able to get in there, but there is a USB slot just in there.
Oh.
Yeah, you can see it. Look at that, a USB slot. This is all waterproof. Now, if you've got something plugged in on the bung, oh, there is. Look at that. So on the bung in here, look, there is a little divot. I'm not sure where you can see that little divot where the cable can come out, so you can plug that in
and it stays dry.
And plug it in, so that's going to stay dry. Now, all this is about your phone, isn't it? Where do you put your phone?
In my pocket.
Now, the only option for
the only bike I've seen so far has been a KTM besides the actual slot that fits one.
So the only real option for your phone is to plug it in and either have a cable long enough to put it in your pocket, or you can get a quad lock.
Quad locks, we like quad locks.
Yeah, we like quad locks. Did a video about that. Then you have to mount that on the screen, on the handlebars, don't you?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a pain because surely there must be a way of you doing something. Now Honda will say, well, you can get tank bags, you can get that sort of stuff, you put it in there. I'm not a fan of tank bags at all.
Surely they could put something on the side here, a little pocket down here where you slip your phone in.
You think so? Yeah.
They expect you to buy bags, side bags for it.
Giving all these ideas away to Honda.
Oh.
So,
they'll pay us.
As you can see, this engine looks brilliant, doesn't it?
Really nice. Honda engines are gorgeous, aren't they?
What I like about the engines is if you took a Honda engine apart, if you took all this off, it'd probably be as smooth inside as it is outside. They're really, really good at making it look good. They've covered this as well, because I've heard horror stories about these sort of things where they're catching people's legs and stuff. But they've covered all that as a nice cover so that you're not scatting the engine or anything like that. pegs, nice rubbers on there, and there is no vibration on the handlebars or the rubbers at all. And they're really quite thick rubber.
And you can take them off.
And you can take them off.
Whereas if you get ones for like on our BMWs, you've got to bolt them. If you want rubber on the GSA, you've got to bolt them on, haven't you?
Yeah. Now, everybody likes their buttocks being cupped.
Absolutely.
Me especially. So it's not an advert for people coming to
buttock cupping.
Buttock cupping, but look at this seat. Now this is almost like a Honda cod piece at the front.
Other cod pieces are available.
Yeah. Now what I mean by that is where you're sat in here, you're actually sat in the bike. You're a lot lower than here, aren't you? So your bottom's here. It's really comfortable.
You feel snug.
Really snug, and you don't feel like you're sliding to and fro like on some bikes. This holds you really close. I'll leave it up to you what this cups, but it's really quite a nice feeling. Moving to the back seat. Lovely, lovely pillion seat. Now that's quite big. Now I'm a selfish rider. I don't like riding with pillions, therefore I don't. Because I like to enjoy the bike myself. But there are lots of people that like having pillions on there. And it's a good 6 inches wide.
There?
Yeah.
That's about 10.5, 11 inches.
Must be a Navy thing. I've heard about your measurements, Mark. Massive grab rail. And you can see that there's 2 little indents here, so you can buy luggage to go with it. Now the luggage, it's not hugely expensive, but you're going to expect to probably pay another 750,000.
Do they call it active luggage? I'm not sure. It just clips in there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is active luggage because you've got this pin as well.
Yeah.
So it actually fits in and goes round the exhaust, which brings me on to, this is a, what's it say on there, Mark?
SC Project Adventure Exhaust System.
Now this is 900 English.
It's not standard with the bike, is it?
It's not standard, it's one of the options. But Mark and I usually say about these exhausts, why on earth would you put on another exhaust after they've done all this development to get the bike running right with the exhaust? Then somebody comes along and puts an exhaust that's not meant to be on it and wonders why the bike might be a little bit different. This, however, is an option. So they've done all of their research and stuff. So if you wanted a louder exhaust, you could put it on, and it does sound quite nice. But when I was riding along, I thought, does it sound any different than the standard one? For me, not an awful lot, but it's a nice looking exhaust.
It looks very nice. I don't understand this loud pipes save lives thing. You know, that's why people put aftermarket pipes on their bikes, so they're really loud. I'd say for
just wakes babies up at night.
Oh, you know, a bit more road motorbike training would probably save your life easier. Less expensive.
Hey ho, each to their own, each to their own. Right, go round to the front, Mark.
I'm going to the front.
Right, look at these lights. Now these have got, I think Honda were one of the first manufacturers in England to have these things that are on all the time.
Running lights, yeah.
Running lights. I'm not sure whether I like them or whether I don't like them, but they're just a feature, aren't they?
Yep.
Really lovely lights. And I saw them reflected in the back of the black Transit when I was riding. I thought, wow, that looks really quite cool. These lights down here are lean lights. So the further you lean as you're riding, they then start coming on.
In graduation?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
So these, I think the only other bike to do that is a KTM, is it the 1290?
Or did the Versys not have them as well?
Well, I'm not sure. 1000? The KTM's got them down here, isn't it? Haven't they?
And I think BMW's K1600 has something like that as well now.
Might well do. It's got loads and loads of stuff on it. But they're quite bright, aren't they? And they're LEDs.
They are very bright, actually.
They are very, very bright.
I like that they are both on at the same time, not just one, you know, because that sometimes confuses people when it's getting darker.
LED indicators.
Yep.
Really bright too. And then round on the back.
Running round the back.
Yes. We have got LED indicators as standard. LED brake lights as standard.
And do you know what I like about it? Unlike your brand new...
Oh, yeah. Don't go there, BMW.
With those stupid red running lights on the rear that as soon as you put your indicators on, you can't see the indicators. Somebody mentioned it today on the ride we were doing.
Yeah.
How bad they are. BMW, sort your crap out.
Video to come on that. Video to come on that. Anyway, the engine we've talked about, beautiful, beautiful engine. Now, when you pull away, and you're like cranking on. The torque on this, I think it's like, I'm not even going to say, it's on the card right next to me. If I stand over there, it's right next to me. So much torque on it, unbelievable.
But is it smooth?
In third gear at 30, leaving that 30 on the way here into 60 within, it seemed like breakneck speed. The whole world went slow. As I throttled on, instantly up to 60 it felt. The power delivery is really smooth, but because of the makeup of the engine, it feels like a, you know, it doesn't feel smooth on the hand, but it really is smooth. Love it, absolutely love it. Gold tyres.
Gold wheels.
Gold wheels, yeah.
Gold tyres.
I have
That's
gold
a James Bond film, isn't it?
Oh, money penny. Gold wheels, they look really good, and this one's running on Metzler tyres.
Metzler Street Carews.
And they weren't half bad, actually.
Well, I'm going to remind you of a little video we did a while ago.
Yeah, where you took them.
You had them on your bike for 200 miles and said they're awful.
Yes.
And I took them on my trip to Norway with my wife on the back, Cornish Stig. And we only got just over 4,000 miles out, 4,500 miles out of them, and they were awful.
Yeah.
And so loud.
However, these were not loud. They weren't awful. They fitted the bike really well.
Yeah, they do.
And the ride of the bike was really nice. Lovely exhaust running underneath the engine there. And
look at that bash plate.
Well, lovely bash plate, but take notice of this, look. Now they've hidden this subtly. So you've got this guard here, which is the body style colour. And then you come down here and this fender extender actually goes down quite a way.
It does.
As standard. Why other manufacturers don't do that, I don't know.
I'm not sure about this though. Attached to the fender, I don't know.
You know, they got to attach it to something.
Yeah.
They can't attach it to the rubber that's going round.
Obviously not.
Otherwise you'd have to
That'd
have an
be...
infinitely long tube.
Yep.
Wouldn't you? But
nice big brake disc
really
brakes
like
on it.
2 as well. 2 on each side. This Nissin brakes. Really good brakes. I can't say an awful lot more about it other than the fact that I was really pleasantly surprised when they said you can take this one out.
Be honest, you didn't want to though, did you?
It wasn't that I didn't want to, but Africa Twin has never been a bike that's really, really enthused me to get out on the bike. And I know that there's loads of people with Africa Twins that are screaming at the screen right now. But you know what? This might have changed my mind. It was really smooth, really comfortable to ride. There's bits of it that I'd have to get used to, but it comes with so much for about £15,000, isn't it?
I think it is.
In
yeah.
England. Really, really nice bike. The capabilities are, you know, beyond my ability.
One thing you haven't mentioned though is it doesn't come with a side centre stand.
No, it doesn't come with a centre stand, which would be a bit of a
You could
pain
probably get
for
one
me.
fitted.
I think you probably could, because I would need one. Because when I get home, drive up my, say long drive, makes me sound rich. It's just a bungalow, up to the end.
The manse.
Yeah, up to Toby Mansion, up to the garage, and I put it on the centre stand, and I oik the bike over on the corner, and I turn it round on the spot. You can do that on this. I'm not going to because it's not mine. I don't want to drop it. One thing I did forget to mention is the screen. Now the screen is adjustable in several places, and you've got like these bits that you press in, they kind of click out.
Oh yeah.
And then you push it up and you push it, or push it up and push it down. There's several, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions by the looks of it. And what I like about it is you've got to do it on both sides, so you can't do it when you're riding along, and I see that so much, and I really wish people would stop and sort their stuff out, because you know it's a bit dangerous. But I had it down there, and I was not a full face of air, but it was clean air, no buffeting, anything like that. But on the way back, I might try it up there and see what it's like. But it's got a definite click. It's not the biggest screen, but is bigger better than not having one?
I don't know, I can't comment on
that. But I really, really like the bike. Really surprised by the bike. I didn't think that I'd like it. It's not my sort of bike, say adventure
I'm
bike.
really glad you took it out, because I've done 2 of these, I think, or 3 of these.
Yeah.
And I love them. And when I had my baby GSA, the 850,
yeah,
I was misled about servicing costs for these bikes.
Right.
And that was why I didn't go for this bike. But now if I was going to go back to a chain, this is definitely back in the frame again.
And I think if I was going to change from BMW, this and a CF Moto would be the two that I would look at, and I think I'd find it very hard to decide which one.
Wow.
Out of them. Although the CF Moto comes with inner linings for their boxes, and that's just
Velvet inner linings, that's like jazz.
blow your mind. But it's really light. Now, I didn't say how heavy it was, did I?
You
I know it's
didn't.
on the card. About 226 kilos, something like that. But that's wet, apparently.
Wow.
Whereas dry on the GSA is 270, 280 kilos, something like that.
Yeah.
And you can really feel that it's light when you're riding it. It's so flickable. And because my tyres, what are our tyres on the front? Are they 19s on the front, are they?
19's on the front, 17's on the back.
Yeah. And this one,
21.
I think is a 21. I was a little bit worried because last time I rode one of these, it felt weird. This felt just right. Didn't notice at all. Love it.
Good.
Really quite like it. I think for the money, you're getting a superb bike. I think I might get one.
Oh no.
No, not until my GSA needs changing. Then I might think about it. I'm not sure. I think the other bits like sat navs and stuff would have to be sorted out. You're going to have to put it on your handlebars, makes it a little bit messy. But did I say about the quick shifter?
No, you didn't.
Wow. Ours on the BMW, buttery smooth. This is like the St. Ivel Gold of smooth. And you know, on sometimes, you guys will know, GSA or quick shifter, sometimes when you go up or you go down, you get the throttle a little bit wrong and you've got, you know,
Clunky.
the engine saying, what on earth did you do? I'm doing it, but clunky. No matter what I did with this, couldn't feel it. It was that smooth.
Wow.
It's almost like they've got a DCT, but with a clutch. And it's so quick to go up and down. Love it. Brakes are brilliant. Love the styling of the bike. Would I get one? I think I might at some point in my life. Perhaps. Maybe. But if you've liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe where you see the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.